Welcome back. After surging in Iowa, Florida Senator Marco Rubio scoring a key endorsement this week. South Carolina Senator Tim Scott throwing his support behind the Republican presidential hopeful. Rubio's competition took notice of his recent surge heading into New Hampshire, making him one of the primary attack targets in last night's debate. Watch this exchange right now between he and Governor Chris Christie.
He simply does not have the experience to be president of the United States and make these decisions.
I think the experience is not just what you did, but how it worked out. Under Chris Christie's governorship of New Jersey, they've been downgraded 9 times in their credit rating.
That's what Washington, D.C. does. The drive-by shot at the beginning with incorrect and incomplete information, and then the memorized 25-second speech.
Chris, your state got hit by a massive snowstorm 2 weeks ago. You didn't even want to go back. They had to shame you into going back. Mind, this notion that Barack Obama doesn't know what he's doing is just not true.
There it is.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
There it is, the memorized 25-second speech.
Well, that's the reason why this campaign.
Wow, that was brutal. Joining me right now is South Carolina Senator Tim Scott. Senator, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Maria. It's good to be with you.
So before we go into why you made this endorsement, let me get your take on how damaging that was just there. That exchange between Chris Christie and Marco Rubio going back to that rehearsed line about Barack Obama several times.
Maria, the one thing that Marco knows is that this campaign is not about attacking other Republicans. This campaign is about getting America back on the right track. I think that last night's performance was fantastic for Marco. The reality of it is I walked away thinking about one thing, having a brother serving in the United States Air Force. Who do I want to be commander-in-chief? The one thing I left without any question is that Marco Rubio has the most knowledge, the intellectual capacity to lead this country as commander-in-chief. Anyone watching that debate realized that on the most important foreign policy objectives of this day, which is defeating ISIS, Marco Rubio can be our commander-in-chief on day one. That's good news for the country.
Intellectual capacity, okay, but not necessarily experience, right? And people keep coming back to this when talking about Senator Rubio because he's a junior senator. We had that with President Obama. A lot of people disappointed in that. When people try to talk about his accomplishments, you don't get the sense that they feel like there are enough.
There's no doubt that liberals are excited about the success of Barack Obama. There's no doubt that Obamacare, a disaster for this country, has been successfully implemented because of the liberal left and their agenda. There's no doubt that Dodd-Frank, a challenging disaster for those of us who have been business owners looking for access to capital. This is another success story if you're a liberal, but it is bad news if you're a small business owner. What Marco Rubio will do is not confuse experience with leadership, because he will lead. He will lead us away from Obamacare and replace it. He will take Dodd-Frank and make sure that we have an opportunity to have access to credit and to make sure that the banking regulations actually work for the common person and not for big banks on Wall Street. The reality of it is simply this, that what I saw last night was Marco Rubio in a strong melee with Chris Christie. This is good for Marco. This is actually helping him become a better debater and better prepared to take on the one and only Democrat candidate. Whoever the person is will have to go through this Republican Party. We will make sure that America's best days are ahead of her.
What do you think about the pushback about the experience question, though? I mean, last night when, you know, a number of times he could have talked about accomplishments or talked about what he would do with the country, he kept going back to, you know, Barack Obama knows exactly what he's doing. He wants to change this country. Was that intentional, or did he have nowhere to go?
I think it was actually a very clear path forward. What Marco was doing was simply distilling the fact that the lack of experience that Barack Obama came into the office did not stop him from accomplishing the agenda that he has set before the American people.
Right.
The agenda that the American people rejected, but he went forward anyways. What Marco was simply saying was that with strong leadership from Marco Rubio, we will be able to reverse the direction of Barack Obama and get this country back to our founding fathers' vision of conservative principles undergirding the success of this country.
So, Senator, real quick, what is he going to do different in going into New Hampshire now to have a better performance Tuesday?
I looked at one of his meetings this morning. he had, it looked like, over 1,000 people in the audience. The Marco momentum continues. I think he's going to have a very good, solid performance on Tuesday. Hopefully, he'll be edging closer to first place, but he'll probably end up in second. He'll come to South Carolina with strong momentum, and I believe that South Carolina will be the place where he finds the first #1 performance in this very, very early primary process.
All right, so you're counting on South Carolina then. Senator, good to have you on the program. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Maria.
We'll
have a great
see you
day.
soon. Senator Tim Scott there.